If your fear is keeping you stuck or preventing you from taking action, know that you don't have to overcome your fear. What you need is a greater force pulling you in the opposite direction, and this force can come in many different forms. I remember when I was in university, I had a communication module, and for our first presentation, we were asked to prepare a 5-minute self introduction. And when it was my turn, I stood up there in front of the whole class of 20 to 30 students. The camera was rolling, and I went something like this. My name is Yong Kang. My mind just went blank completely. I didn't know how long it was, but it felt like eternity. On the outside, I looked frozen, but on the inside, I was panicking. I was like, what is my next line? Everyone is looking at me. Say the next line, quick, say the next line. I don't remember exactly what happened after that. My memory was totally wiped off. You can call this a fear of public speaking, a fear of being seen or heard, a fear of failure. The bottom line is, I have a fear of standing in front of the camera or people and speaking to them. However, that day I knew if I continue to be like this, I will have fear this module and I'll have to retake it and I'll have to do more presentation. No, no way I'm doing this. So in each lesson, I tried to do a little better. I had a script in front of me, but then I'll find myself reading off the script word for word, or I'll fumble in the middle of the presentation. Like, where am I in the script again? I'm lost. Like, I lost where I was. I tried writing bullet points, but I could not find the words to express myself fully at that moment. It wasn't until the final presentation, after writing a script that is easy to remember and rehearsing it like 50 times, I felt confident to deliver my message. And in the end, I got a B plus for this module. I'm telling you this because, despite the fear I had, I still managed to pass my module. I didn't overcome my fear at all. I still feel anxiety and nervousness till today when I have to speak to a crowd. My legs and body will still shake when so many eyes are looking at me. My mind still goes blank whenever I speak to a camera. I still rely on the script even when I'm recording this video. But that doesn't stop me from doing what I want. I have a greater force pulling me in the opposite direction of my fear. I had a strong desire to pass my course, and that's why I practice so much. I have a strong purpose to share my insights, and that's why I kept making videos like this. Despite the imperfection, the fears, I still show up. That's because I'm not focusing on my fears as much. Instead, I'm tapping into the universal energy of love, freedom, passion, and purpose, and allowing it to carry me to the outcome I desire. And the fear that I have seems so insignificant and tiny in comparison to this greater flow of energy, this greater momentum. I once read this book, I think it's called The Compound Effect. In the book, it poses a hypothetical situation, a scenario. Let's say you are afraid of heights, and then there are two buildings connected by a wooden plank. You see that your child is in the other building and is facing some kind of immediate danger, like there's a fire. You will rush to their rescue despite your fear of heights, right? You will not be like, hey, let me think about this. Can I do this or not? It seems very high. Should I go? Should I not? When you have a strong desire to save your child, you just go. You don't wait. You don't wait for yourself to be ready or to overcome your fears before you take action. Many of us make this mistake. We are too focused on our fears. We think that we need to overcome our fears. We think we need to push through our fears before we can pursue our dreams and live the life that we want. We think that we have to wait till our nerves have calmed down completely and our worries are gone before we speak our truth or change our careers or move to a location that we desire. But this is not true. We will never be ready. Whenever we face uncertainty, there will always be some kind of discomfort. And also, Fear isn't obstructing your desires. It's just showing where you are blocked and where your resistance is. Fear is just an indicator. It's just like a fire alarm telling you that there's fire. And you don't get rid of the fire alarm, right? You don't get rid of the indicator, right? Because it's useful. It tells you that there's a fire. Fear is just telling you that there are two perspectives, the ego perspective and the spiritual perspective. And right now, you're looking from the ego perspective, the fear based perspective. You're not looking from the spiritual perspective, the love based perspective. Your spirit, your higher self, is not looking at your fears as obstacles. It's not looking at a situation and being like, what if I went blank during my presentation? What if I get judged for being my authentic self? What if I don't earn enough money if I pursue my passion and purpose? Your spirit is not spending any time on this. That is your ego speaking. Fear is just trying to show you where you have mental belief they are not aligned with your spirit. And this is great because now you have awareness of your block and resistance. I don't know if I've experienced this before. Sometimes our ego will make excuses to cover up our fears. For example, deep down inside, maybe we are afraid of rejection, intimacy, and deep connection with others. But we disguise it by saying, oh, we just prefer to be single and alone. I don't even want a mate. I don't even want a partner. Or we may have a fear of success. We think that when we are successful, we will attract negative comments and attention from others. So we say, we don't even want this in the first place. Chasing success, like chasing money and all kind of things, like it's so superficial. Doing so, not only are we denying our desires, we are also covering up our fears. So when your fears come out to the surface and you're conscious of that, that's wonderful because they're not hidden and buried in your subconscious anymore. You get to choose what to do with your fear. You can let it run in the background, or you can stop it from determining your action and behavior. I could have said I'm better at writing than speaking and hide behind my writing for the rest of my life and not record any video and be like, I don't even want to do video anyway. But when I connect with my spirit and be truly honest with myself, I know that deep down inside, I do have a desire to speak and share my messages. I was just too afraid to do that in the past, so I started with writing first, a place where I have less resistance and block. And that's okay. You start where it's easiest for you and slowly build your momentum over time. It takes time to go from fear to love. When you're driving a car, you can't change your direction 360 degrees immediately, right? Your car will swerve. What you need to do is to slow down first and slowly build your momentum in the other direction. At first, things may seem very slow, and that's okay. It takes time to fully understand the specific of your soul's desire. It takes time for you to gain momentum. When I'm committed to doing this YouTube channel, it felt like an instant transformation. Like I just woke up one day and suddenly I felt so inspired to create a channel, right? But it actually took me like 7 to 8 years of my spirit calling me to do this that I finally tipped the scale. And even so, it doesn't mean that I no longer have fear of public speaking or have overcome my fears completely. I still feel nervous talking in front of the camera. My mind still goes blank if I were to speak without any script. Tipping the scale just means that I no longer let my fears hold me back from the thing I want to do anymore. It means I no longer let my fear determine what I can do and what I cannot do. It means that I choose to focus more on the universe energy of passion and purpose. I'm more tapped in instead of my allowing my egoic fears from holding me back. Sometimes people think that once you overcome your fears, you can finally start to do the things that you want. But actually, this is the opposite. The more you take action on your dreams, the more fears, worry, and doubts will come out. The closer you get to the truth of who you truly are, The closer you get to your soul's desire, the more scared your ego gets, the more resistant you will feel. Your ego doesn't want to lose its power. If you turn over to the spirit and surrender to the universe completely, it feels like you have no control and no say in anything anymore. But the opposite is true. When you surrender, that's where you truly feel freedom to be yourself. That's where you break free from your fears and your ego's hold on you. And so every moment we have this choice to make. Do we tune into the ego's perspective or do we tune into the spiritual perspective? This will determine whether we are riding the natural flow of spirit's momentum or are we cowering in fear, frozen in place. You don't need to overcome your fears, but you need to be at least aware of it. Sometimes we don't even know we're acting out of fear because we have been so conditioned to living in fear. So watch this next video to see how you can break free from this conditioning.